Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. I am standing on a yoga mat. If you don't have one, maybe there's a place in your house that's carpeted, or you could use a rug to serve as your yoga mat for today. I also have a couple of yoga blocks, but you could use thick books as a great substitute. And a folded blanket is always a great idea. Maybe you've got a beach towel or the throw blanket from your couch. Sometimes I even recommend a bolster-like thing, so that could be the cushion from your couch. Get creative. Use the things in your house and enjoy using props as a rich part of our practice. Let's start standing in mountain pose with our feet hip distance and parallel. Our palms turned away from each other, but that's originating at our shoulder joint. A soft bend to our knees. Chin parallel to the ground as if gazing at our bright horizon. And we let this be a place where we land in our breath. And in a sense of stillness, the arrows of attention turned inward instead of distractedly outward. It's probably the most advanced part of the whole practice. Let's stop so that we can start. So we're standing here on our 2 feet. Notice that there's a little game of balance that's already happening, right? There's a subtle shift side to side, forward and back. We're always catching ourselves in balance a little bit. Just like we want to have a balance to our lives. A balance of trying new things, getting out there, being a little bit busy, but also a balance of appreciating what we have, getting still, getting connected to the earth. Let's play a little bit with that concept in our bodies, shifting side to side. So we're taking that subtle shift that happens all the time and expanding on it. And let's shift onto our right foot and stay and just hover our left leg. You can even take your hands onto your hips. That can maybe make things a little bit more interesting or sturdy. And then shift your weight onto your left foot and pause here. Let's do that one more time each side. So over to our right, and we just feel a shift in the balance, and that we have to find a new sense of balance. And then over to our left foot, and again, just a little experiment, which is really what this whole practice is. And then let's step back into that balance between 2 feet. So back into our mountain. And then inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V. We'll exhale, hinge at our hips. Just for this first one, take your hands onto your thighs, traction your hands on your thighs, and feel that to be a recipe to grow our spine long. So that too is a sense of balance. We have a tendency to slump in our lives, and here we are balancing that out. Now when we hinge at our hips and fold, let's keep the length in our spine, and then you're welcome to slide your hands down your legs. But if that's rounding you, that's not quite where we want to go with this. So find that sweet spot where you can hinge at your hip but grow long in your spine. And then inhale, let's uplift our heart, and that may slide your hands back up again. And continue all the way up. Arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, and then we'll stand in our mountain. So we bring that long spine with us wherever we go. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands to your thighs or your shins or your ankles, but let's try to keep that length through our spine. One more time, just inhale, slide your hands up. We'll exhale, fold back in, but keep that long spine, and then inhale, rise, reach. Thumbs to the sky, a V, and we stand in our mountain. And appreciate the balance between our 2 feet, the balance of breath and movement, balance all over the place, right? Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs, your shins, or your ankles. We'll inhale and slide our hands up, but this time bend your knees deeply enough that your palms go flat on the ground so we can step to our first down dog. In our first down dog, let's step our feet wide as your mat. Be on your toes and oomph into your arms until your spine grows long, like our conversation in our forward fold, but now we're weight bearing in our arms. So what I don't want is for us to collapse and elbows out to the side and struggle in our neck. Spin your inner upper arms forward, press into your arms, grow your spine long, imagine a hook in your tailbone, and then let's walk forward, hip distance, feet to our hands. Inhale, hands to shins, ankles, thighs. Exhale, fold back in, and then inhale, rise, reach thumbs to the sky, a V. We'll stand in our mountain, palms facing out. Adding on, inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs, your shins, or your ankles. Inhale, lift your heart, slide your hands up, bend your knees deeply, palms flat. Step to down dog, find the hook in your tailbone right away. Keep pressing the ground away as we come to plank and our shoulders are over our wrists. Thigh bones press into the hamstrings. You can always bring your knees down onto your mat. Go back to down dog. Let the hook in your tailbone take you there. Walk your feet forward. Feet are hip distance. Slide your hands up. Inhale, lift your heart, and exhale, hinge at your hips. Then rise, reach. Inhale, arms to the sky. V shape. We'll stand in our mountain, appreciating the balance. Inhale, arms out and up. Then exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to thighs, shins or ankles. Inhale, glide your hands up, lift your heart up, bend your knees deeply, palms flat. Step to a down dog with that long spine. Shift to plank position, shoulders over wrists, and now all of us will bring our knees to our mat, and let's pause here. So no sagging between our shoulder blades, we're pushing the ground away. We can feel our low belly draw towards our spine, so that's not hanging out and collapse is not happening in our low back. In one piece, make your way all the way to the floor. You could think of elbows brushing your ribs. Once there, uncurl your toes and bring your forearms parallel to the long edges of your mat. Let's construct this from our feet to the crown of our head. So press into the tops of your feet and let your kneecaps lift. Feel as though you're almost tucking your tailbone to create length in your lower back. Traction your elbows towards you and feel an imprint, like a hand between your shoulder blades. And as you do that, let your chin stay parallel to the ground so that shoulder blade area of our spine is where the love goes. Lower down, bring your hands next to your ribs. Curl your toes under. Firm your belly so that we can come to all fours in one piece, and then let the hook in our tailbone take us to down dog. From down dog, walk your feet forward, hip distance to your hands. Inhale, slide your hands up, lift your heart. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Slide your hands down, fold with a long spine, and then inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky. Let's stand in the balance. We'll flow that 2 times, that full sun salutation. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs, your shins, or your ankles. Inhale, slide your hands up, bend your knees deeply, palms go flat. Step back, pushing the ground away into the long spine down dog, and then come into plank position, shoulders over wrists, knees down, in one piece, all the way to our belly. Uncurl your toes. Either keep your hands where they are and design that back bend as a cobra, or bring your forearms back down and do sphinx. Lower down and curl your toes under. Firm your belly through all fours and into our down dog. From downward facing dog with our very long spine, walk your feet to your hands. We're hip distance. Inhale, hands come to ankles, shins, or thighs. We lift our heart, and exhale, slide your hands down as we fold. Rise, reach, arms to the sky, and then we pause. Palms face out. One more flow, just like that. Inhale, arms reach up, and exhale, hands to thighs or shins or ankles. Inhale, up, lift your heart, and then palms flat. We step to a down dog. Really push the ground away and lengthen your spine. Keep pushing the ground away as we come to plank. Knees down in our modified plank and all the way to our belly. Uncurl your toes for cobra or sphinx pose. Lower down, curl your toes under, firm your belly, come through all fours. And then up and back we go with the hook in our tailbone for our down dog. We'll walk forward, feet to our hands, hip distance, hands to ankles, shins, or thighs as we uplift our heart and inhale, and then slide your hands down to fold in. Rise, reach, arms to the sky, and then we pause in our mountain and in the balance. Take your 2 books and place them, your 2 blocks, out in front of your mat, about a foot out in front of you. And first, with our feet hip distance, let's practice a chair pose. So like we're sitting back into a chair, thumbs to the sky, V shape, and then we'll stand it up and float our arms along our sides. Our chair pose is a sit back into our heels as if there were a tiny chair there, and then we'll stand it up and pause. Adding on chair pose. Let's stand onto our right leg and bring our left knee into our chest, just that much so far. Step down, and we'll step onto our left foot and bring our right knee into our chest, lowering our arms. One more time, just like that, chair. Balance, right? Standing on our right leg, left knee to our chest, chair. Standing on our left leg, bringing our right knee into our chest. We'll build on that balance, chair pose. Stand on your right leg, left knee into your chest, pause. Our blocks are there to help us if we want. Letter T with our left leg back behind us, a little bend in our right knee. You could bring your hands to those blocks if you'd like to. Come back up, left knee into your chest, chair pose. Stand on your left leg, right knee into your chest. A little seesaw, a human seesaw of balance. Right leg drifts behind us, a little bend in our left knee. You can bring your hands to those blocks. Then bring yourself back, up, right knee to your chest, and we step down into chair. Let's do that again. Stand onto your right leg. Bring your left knee into your chest. Seesaw slowly, hands can come to blocks, into our letter T. Then we come back upright, bringing that left knee into our chest, step down into your chair pose. Shift your weight to balance onto your left leg. Bring your right knee into your chest. Seesaw, slowly, right leg back behind us. Come back up, right knee into your chest. Step down into your chair pose, and let's stand and pause and breathe. Continuing to play with our balance, just like we did when we shifted our weight side to side. We'll now stand on our right leg and bring our hands onto our hips. You might move those blocks out of the way. I'm just realizing I need to do that. So as we stand onto our right leg with our hands on our hips, take your left leg out in front of you. Now we're finding balance, and just rotate that left leg out and then rotate it back to the sky. If you need to use a wall for balance, there's no shame in that. So rotate left leg out to the side and then back to the sky. And this time, when we rotate our left leg out, let's feel the balance of standing into our right leg and make a kickstand out of our left toes. Maybe place that left foot into our right shin, or perhaps left foot into right inner thigh. If things feel balanced here, you can grow the branches of your tree, but we're just nerding out on balance a little bit today. Sometimes that means a wall to place our hand on as part of the experiment. Let's stay here for 3 balancing, breathing moments. And then hands to our hips if they aren't there still. Let that left knee go forward, step down, stand into your mountain, appreciate the balance of both feet on the floor. Let's run that experiment on side 2. Hands on your hips or maybe hand on a wall. Shift your weight into your left leg and then take your right leg out in front of you, and we'll turn that right leg out. We had to find balance in the left leg, and then right toes to the sky. Turn that right leg out. Then right toes to the sky. Turn your right leg out. Plant a kickstand. That's plenty. Maybe right foot into left shin. Maybe right foot into left inner thigh. We'll grow our branches. Maybe one of your branches is connected to the wall, and then let's just appreciate balance in that one little left foot holding us up. 2 more moments here. Hands on our hips, turn that right knee forward, step down into your mountain. This next thing, I think that at a minimum your blocks are going to be helpful. You might even use a chair or use the arm of your couch for our next playing with balance moment. We'll stand onto our right leg as we've been doing. But this time, as we stand onto our right leg, we'll bend that right knee like the chair pose that we did. We'll take our left leg and turn it out and place it in a figure 4. Now you could just stay upright and see if you can find some balance here. There's also a balance between stability in our right hip and mobility in this left hip. So there's already balance. You could decide to go a little bit deeper with your hands on the arm of your sofa or your hands on your blocks. And then once you go in a little bit deeper, you could take your hands into a prayer and find some balance. Now, if this is a big, huge rounding experience, I think our first option of staying pretty upright might be where you want to be today. You could even use your wall here, but let's find some balance on our right leg. And some balance between strength and flexibility. And how about some balance between inhale and exhale? Now come upright, hands on your hips, go slowly. Turn that left knee up, step down into your mountain. Appreciate both feet on the floor. Then we take our second side, so stand on your left leg, have any proppage, any help around, and we'll bend our left knee and rotate our right hip into that hip opener. Bend your left knee, hands can be in a prayer and you stay here. Maybe you're doing that with your wall as your friend. It could be that you bend that left knee a little bit deeper and either use the arm of your sofa or some tall blocks to get a little bit more stretch. I'm not saying that the more stretch is better, it's just an option. Remember, we're not rounding our spine. That is something we want to be super aware of. And then let's just find some balance. So balance between strength and flexibility, balance between inhale and exhale, balance between effort and surrender. And then literal balance right here in our left foot for 3 moments. Now be careful and mindful as you come upright, turn your right knee to the sky and step down into our mountain and just feel all the feels. One last play with balance moment. Let's move our blocks about a foot in front of the front edge of our mat. We'll stand in our mountain pose. We flirted with this pose a little bit when we did our chair, knee to chest, letter T. We'll now stand on our right leg, hands can be on your hips. Anytime you want to use the blocks a little bit more than I might be suggesting, please feel free to do that. So first just start with shifting your weight onto your right foot. We played with that from the very beginning. Let's firm our belly and seesaw into a letter T. And from our letter T, maybe a prayer in front of your heart for a moment, just again, playful balance. The blocks are there to help us out, right? Now we'll add a twist to our balancing challenge, and I mean that literally. So left hand on your tall book or block, right arm up to the sky. We're twisting in that letter T. Now you could sort of play around with being a bit lighter in your left hand. And if that's more than you bargained for, that's why we've got props. That could be the arm of your sofa if it's helpful. Now let's come out the way that we came in. Unwind, either both hands on your blocks or both hands into a prayer. Step up, hip distance parallel, all feet on the floor. Shift your weight onto your left leg. You might bring your hands onto your hips, firm through your belly. Let's turn into a letter T on this side. Seesawing into the equation. Hands can go on those blocks or the arm of your couch, maybe a prayer with a little bit of a playful balance moment. And then we add a twist to our balance. Hands can come to your blocks. Right hand will stay on your block. Left arm up to the sky. If you want that little moment of play where you get a little bit lighter on the prop, great, it's not required. And then we come out slowly the way that we came in, so you might want to land with both hands on your blocks. And then maybe see if you can find that prayer. And then we'll come upright, feet hip distance, and pause in the balance of our mountain. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V shape, then exhale. Hands onto your thighs, shins, or ankles. You can scoot your blocks out of the way. Inhale, lift your heart. Bend your knees deeply, palms flat first. We step to a very long spine in our downward facing dog. Let's take a vinyasa, shifting into plank, shoulders over wrists, knees down. You'll come all the way down onto your belly and then roll over onto your back. So once you're on your belly, I'm just gonna roll this way so I'm a little easier to see, but you'll roll over onto your back. And once you're on your back, I want you to feel like we're standing in mountain pose. So just let the back of your head be on your mat. Imagine that you're standing. And feel the information that you're getting in between your shoulder blades. So for me, when I lie down, I have a tendency to lift my chin and flare out my shoulder blades like wings. You feel that maybe in your own body? Shimmy your shoulder blades flat on the ground. Use that feedback from the ground. Also notice if you're really arched in your back, and let's balance that with a softness. So it doesn't feel like it's anything more than the natural curve in your low back. We'll try to keep that and hug our right knee into our chest. And as we do this, I'm going to lift my head just to be able to watch you, but I want you to keep the back of your head on your mat. Slide your hands down the back of your right leg and see if you can't keep your shoulder blades flat on the ground, straightening as best you can this right leg. So even though I'm rounding up to look at you a little bit, that's not what you're doing. You're keeping balance between the feedback of your back body on the ground and some stretch that's happening in your right leg right now. And let's balance our inhales and our exhales. And we can actually tease out a balance in our breath that allows the exhales to become longer than the inhales. So this part of our practice balances out the rigor of movement, and it balances out our nervous system. So we're feeding the relaxation side of our nervous system. Now bend your left knee and cross your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Curl your right toes back. We're balancing out the stretch in our hamstring with the stretch in our hip now. This is probably perfect. You might thread the needle and hold around your left hamstring, maybe even hold around your left shin. Now notice it's likely that you've winged out your shoulder blades again, and a little of that is okay, but try to challenge yourself to find a sweet spot, a balanced place in this stretch where we're not struggling and rounding, but we're still opening and breathing. I'm going to be silent for 45 seconds here. You're welcome to close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you. Lastly here, if you're threading the needle, let that go. Cross your right knee over your left knee and scoot your hips over to the right. Let this spill into a supine twist, a lying down twist. Make it comfortable in any ways that you need to. Maybe part of what makes it comfortable is not crossing your right knee on top. That's fine. You can just spill both knees over. Let's Let's come back to center. Uncross and plant your feet on the ground. Let's also come back to the feeling of doing our mountain pose. So just let your legs straighten and get the feedback of your shoulder blades and your low back, and notice if you're throwing your chin forward, not with judgment, just collecting intel, learning about ourselves. And then bend your left knee into your chest, and holding the back of that left leg, start to straighten your left leg to the sky. And we'll try to keep our shoulder blades underneath us. All of this is work in progress. We have a few stretchy moments into our hamstring here. And then bend your right knee and place your right foot on the ground. Cross left ankle on top of right thigh. Totally great to stay like this, and actually that would probably let you feel your shoulder blades flat on the ground. Maybe you thread the needle. It's not terrible that you feel the winging out of your shoulder blades, but let's try to find that happy place where there's not struggle. It's not that you aren't trying, but there's what's called effortless effort in the practice of yoga. And I'm going to get silent for that 45 seconds here. Now, place your right foot on the ground and cross your left knee over. If you found that actually the crossing of your knees was not making you happy, you can leave the cross out. Scoot your hips left, let your knees drop to the right. Luxuriate here for a moment. Then bring yourself to center and place your feet as wide as your mat. Allow your knees to fall in on each other, and let's shimmy those shoulder blades underneath us. Lift up just so that we feel an evenness, a balance to our pelvis, and you could stay here or extend one leg and then the other. Into our Shavasana, final meditation. Feel free to close, even cover your eyes. You're welcome to stay here in your Shavasana final meditation for as long as you'd like. If you're ready, gently wiggle fingers and toes, maybe stretch your arms and legs away from each other. Collect your knees into your chest, roll gently, carefully to either side. Let your head be the last thing to come up. We've been lying down for quite a while. In your comfortable seat, palms up or down, and we take a moment just to observe, to appreciate, to feel. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I look